What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and tonight I am wrestling with myself. I have not cut a wrestling video on this channel for a long time. For a YouTube channel called Styles Clash for Life, I'm not doing a whole lot of wrestling stuff lately. I've been doing a lot of football and movie stuff and stuff like that. But I've got some wrestling fans on this channel, and I'm really been excited about what's been going on in wrestling for the past year or so. It's been pretty interesting. And for those of you guys that have been following AEW, you know that Tony Khan, AEW's owner, has just bought Ring of Honor. Now, I am a longtime Ring of Honor fan. I can recall Christmas of 2002, getting that first Era of Honor Begins show, the first ever Ring of Honor show on DVD, and watching it like over and over again, staying up and being enthralled by this new wrestling company in 2002 that formed. I think in June of 2002 it first formed. And I've been following it ever since. I've seen probably nearly every show from 2002 to about 2013 for about 11 years. And then I kind of fell off a little bit with it, but I still stayed up on the news and what was going on. And I've watched it pretty religiously, for the most part, over the better part of 20 years. And it was announced in December that they were going to be taking a break after the end of the year and letting everybody out of their contracts and coming back as a non-contracted different company for cost-cutting measures, because just COVID not being able to run shows kind of wiped them out financially and hurt them. So they've still got a show on Sinclair Broadcasting right now that's been showing best ofs and Hall of Fame packages for their new Hall of Fame. But Tony Khan announced on Dynamite several weeks ago that he bought Ring of Honor, and they had their first show back, Supercard of Honor, which was kind of the bridge show between now and what Tony Khan's going to do with the new roster. So I decided now is a good time. And I'm excited that Ring of Honor is still going forward and being backed by a billionaire. And he said it's still going to get TV. And he said it's still going to be run as a separate brand. So if Ring of Honor is going to be run as its own brand, this is the perfect time for AEW to use Ring of Honor as a subsidiary and kind of an NXT situation, a feeder system for their main roster. They've got an abundance of talents on their roster. They've got like 110 people signed to contracts right now. They've been signing guys way too much, left and right and center. But now that Tony Khan has a second company, and a lot of those guys come from that same company, now it seems like this is a good time to slide some guys over and, use more of your talents. If you take a bunch of guys off the AEW roster, some of the guys that could use a main stage, some guys that are very talented and have a high ceiling and a lot of potential, but are not quite ready for Dynamite, National, TNT, or TBS cable, slide them over to Ring of Honor, to a bit smaller show, but they still have a company with a lot of legacy to it, and they're going to have an audience that's not quite as big as AEW, but a little bit smaller, and you're still putting your young, talented guys out in front of an audience for them to get a chance to develop their characters, play to the audience more, do live promos in front of the crowd, work the crowd in their matches, and develop more personality. Now, not only are you cutting back on your AEW roster, which is overstacked, and you can focus your main TV shows now on the main top stars and draw more of a casual audience to see those stars that you're building long term, but you're taking your younger guys with potential and giving them more experience and building a second brand around those guys, so now they get more chance to be on TV instead of being in the background. So this is what I would do if I was to build Ring of Honor's roster out of the current AEW guys. So I've got a mix here. I've got some high-flying guys with some technical guys with some big power guys. I've got some new AEW stars aligned with a bunch of older Ring of Honor names. I've just built a roster from AEW they're not currently using as much, and putting some guys over on this new Ring of Honor roster. And I want to see what you guys think of it. I want to see what you guys think of my Ring of Honor by AEW. So I've got 21 single stars here. I took 21 guys off the AEW roster, and I put them on the Ring of Honor roster to start and build some shows here. Starting off with some Ring of Honor legends and long-term guys that the audience already knows. Samoa Joe, number one, right away. I'm not going to discuss every talent in depth, but Samoa Joe, obviously, he just got signed. He was on the Supercard of Honor show, so clearly he's going to be part of this new Ring of Honor. He was the longest Ring of Honor champion ever. He is the man most synonymous with Ring of Honor. He has to be there. He's one of your biggest stars. Jay Lethal, he's been the lifeblood of Ring of Honor for the better part of 9 years now. Long champion. Held a lot of belts there. He's got to be one of your top guys. He's a newly turned heel. He's not been getting used on AEW at all, very disappointingly. So I think him in Ring of Honor brings a lot of those old ROH fans back to watch the new Ring of Honor. Colt Cabana. Colt Cabana has never really gotten used since being signed by AEW. He's been toiling around on Dark with the Dark Order in the background. He's a Ring of Honor long-term guy. He's been around in tag teams and singles. He's done silly. He's done serious. I like Colt Cabana for this Ring of Honor roster. Chris Daniels. Chris Daniels is now the VP of Talent Relations, I believe, for AEW. He has not wrestled in AEW besides that one Danielson match in over a year, I think. He is a Ring of Honor legend. He was in the first ever main event of Ring of Honor. He's one of the top guys in ROH history, and he's not really been doing anything on screen for AEW, so why not put him over there as a top guy in the new Ring of Honor to help the young guys, be an agent for their matches, be a VP for them, and be one of the top guys there. Another guy who could be a player coach, trainer kind of guy that could also wrestle is Kazarian. He's been doing nothing but matches on Dark since he and Chris Daniels broke up. He's done nothing. He was the Elite Hunter for a few weeks, and then he was back off TV. He's not really been on TV consistently in any kind of meaningful feuds or programs since he and Daniels broke up. He's a bit long-term Ring of Honor guy. He's been there for quite a while. He's a very experienced wrestler who knows kind of how to work the ring. He could be very good for the young guys. I'd put Kazarian over there. Matt Seidel. Matt Seidel has only been an undercard jobber for AEW. I can only recall 1 or 2 TV wins he's ever gotten. He's lost 90% of his matches there. He's never had a long-term feud. He's never had any real promos. He's never done anything consequential in AEW, but he's another guy. He was in Generation Next in like 2006 or 7 in Ring of Honor. He's been there for a long, long time. He's a very underrated wrestler. He's well-rounded. He's got experience from WWE. He's been in Impact. He's been everywhere. So I think he is a really good veteran for Ring of Honor. Brian Cage. Obviously, Brian Cage is a very talented big man. He looks amazing. He's got a great body and a good look. He's got very agile for his size, very, very diverse wrestler in the ring. Obviously, he didn't get along with Tony Khan or AEW because he was benched for about a year there, maybe 6 to 8 months. He wasn't seen on TV for a long time. He was put right into main event matches and then lost those matches and then was gone for a long time. So he's not being used in AEW, and they've already got some big men there like Wardlow who they're focusing on. So why not give Ring of Honor a big man who's got indie experience? He's spent a lot of time in TNA and places like that. So he's got experience. He's a talented big man. He can work multiple styles, and he can work with a lot of guys on this roster. I think Brian Cage is a great big man for ROH, and he's already there. Tully Blanchard is managing him now. He was in Supercard of Honor. Tully brought him out as part of his new stable, which is great because the one thing Brian Cage cannot do is talk. His promos are terrible, but Tully Blanchard is an experienced manager and a good talker. So Tully can talk, and Brian Cage can beat guys up. I love that fit. Pentagon Junior. I would separate Pentagon and Phoenix. I think the tag team has run its course. I think Phoenix is better off on his own. Pentagon had a great dark character in Lucha Underground. He was very, very good when he was breaking guys' arms and doing dark stuff in Lucha Underground. I think he needs time to get his character back on track because all he does for a character and for promos is go Cero Miedo over and over and over again. And the glove thing, he pulls the glove off and tosses the glove and does the Cero Miedo in the guy's face. It's overplayed, it's stale, it's boring. He needs to get a character back. And the best way to do that is going to Ring of Honor, getting some vignettes, and getting some actual one-on-one feuds where he can work on his character. Because he has charisma, the crowd likes him, he's a solid wrestler. He needs to work on getting that character together. Ring of Honor is a good place for that, and they're not going to have a lot of luchadors in my roster. So I think he's going to stand out. His work is going to feel special again, whereas in AEW, everyone's flying around, so it's not going to feel special. Then we have Alan Angels. Speaking of young guys that can fly, I don't like the Dark Order gimmicks. They're not doing anybody any favors. Alan Angels is an undersized guy, but he's got a good body, and he can really work. He can fly around. He's a good bumper. He's a decent seller, and he's a very good offensive aerialist. He fits in with that original ROH style. He's going to stand out because crowds like him because of what he can do in the ring, but he has no place to do it as one of 7 guys in Dark Order in the background. He gets a chance now to play to the crowd and get more of a character in Ring of Honor, and he can be one of their underdogs who's undersized but has a lot of fight and can take a beating and can fly around the ring. I like Alan Angels, and ROH is a good place for him. Another guy from Dark Order, Preston Vance. Take him out of the mask, take the Sharpie stuff off his chest. Number 10's not working. There's no character there. There's no connection there. But he's a talented wrestler. He did the Vanilla Vance heel gimmick for a while in other companies. He's been kind of a face in AEW. Let him be either, whatever he wants to be. But I think Preston Vance, I recall his face being pretty solid when they first brought him in. He's got a good body and a good size, and he's a decent wrestler. He needs to work on some things. He's never really done promos, obviously, in Dark Order, and his ring work is marginal. It's decent. He definitely has a lot of potential and a high ceiling, especially being an athletic guy with a good body like that, as one of their big guys. But I think he could really use an opportunity to get a character and add more to his offense in Ring of Honor. Speaking of big guys who are underused in AEW that never get seen, who have a lot of talent, Nick Camarado. The Factory is really terrible. QT Marshall is kind of annoying on the mic. Aaron Solo's got nothing. Anthony Ogogo has been in and out with injury and stuff. Very talented, but he's barely associated with these guys anymore. But Nick Camarado, he's a big guy. He's super strong. He does the one-arm press slams. He picked up Wardlow with one arm the other day and press slammed him. Super strong. Big hairy chest, big crazy hair. He's got that old school 80s feel to him. He's this big caveman, and he's super strong, and he's athletic, and he looks violent, and he's physical in the ring. He's a young guy that doesn't have a lot of experience under him yet, but he's very talented. He's got a very unique look, and he's got a high potential. I think he's one of the best underused guys in AEW, and he never gets on TV unless he's getting squashed. I think Ring of Honor is a place for him to be a top guy, one of the best big men up toward the main event. With that strength and that intensity, he can be a top heel in Ring of Honor, and he can work on promos, and he can work on expanding his offense. Camarado's got a high ceiling. Speaking of guys with a high ceiling, Lee Moriarty. He's been in Ring of Honor twice now, once before and once on this last show. Moriarty is a high-energy guy from Pittsburgh, right here in my hometown. Very talented guy. He's quick on his feet. He's got good reversals. One of the best technical wrestlers right now. Came up with Alex Shelley and had a great series with Shelley. He's a very energetic, can do high flying, can do technical. I like Moriarty a lot. He's never really been seen in AEW except to lose. He's never really won a match on Dynamite since he's been there. He's won a few dark matches here and there, but just loses on TV. He needs a fresh start. He's got Ring of Honor kind of blood to him, and I think we're still going to have the Ring of Honor Pure title in my ROH, so I think he fits the ROH Pure division very well. I would use him big time in the Pure division. Another Lee that's very talented, Lee Johnson. High-flying guy, one of Cody's students. He actually did get a couple of wins on Dynamite, not too many, but he's lost more than he's won, and he's barely seen on the show. He really only wins on Dark. He's probably the best student out of that Cody and QT class. He's got some energy. His comeback is really good. The crowd likes him. He can fly around. He can bump. I like Lee Johnson a lot, and I think he could be a potential top guy, underdog, in Ring of Honor if he gets more time. Another guy who's barely been seen that has a high ceiling is Brock Anderson. He's tagged with Lee Johnson on Dark a little bit. Brock Anderson, he's got the Arn Anderson look. He's got the scraggly beard, the hairy chest. He's got the spine buster. He's got some punches. He's got the DDT. He's got some Arn Anderson premise here, but he's got a way to go. He only had a handful of matches. He's only been on actual Dynamite like 4 times. I don't think he's won a match on Dynamite yet, so he's not being used there. Put him out in front of an audience, get him some feuds, and see what he can do with his intensity. He's got an old school feel to him, and I think he could be underrated in Ring of Honor. Somebody else that I like a lot, I mentioned earlier, Anthony Ogogo. He had that big feud with Cody. He did some promos, had a good match with Cody on pay-per-view, and that was the only time he was really seen. He got injured after that. I think his eye was messed up, and he's not been seen again since. He's been back on Dark a lot, but never on Dynamite. He's not being seen at all, not even at ringside. He's got a very good natural heel persona. He's very hateable. He's decent on the mic. He's got one of the most well-rounded games of anybody on my ROH roster here. I think he could be a top heel here. Again, he connects with the crowd in a heel way. He's really just punchable. He's got a punchable face. He's got a swagger about him. He's got a decent body. Ogogo, for being as new as he is, can work in the ring when he's in there with a ring general like a Cody. So you put him in there with a couple of your top guys, you can get some good programs out of him. I think Ogogo should be on TV every single week. I think he's one of the rising stars that's not getting used enough. Ring of Honor would be good for him. Tony Nese, he's a Ring of Honor style guy. He came from Vince in 205 Live. He's been in TNA. I think he's done a couple things in Ring of Honor here and there. Just great body, good heel persona, decent on the mic. Only been seen, I think, on 1 or 2 Dynamites, maybe 3 or 4 Rampages. He's never really won a match on the main shows. So Nese is a guy with pedigree. He's a guy that's been around for a while. He's a guy that's well-rounded. He can do technical. He can do high flying. He's a little bland in personality, but his mic skills are decent. A little more development. I think he could be a really good promo and a natural heel. I like Nice, and I think he fits on Ring of Honor's roster pretty well. Then you got Wheeler Yuta. Obviously, he's becoming a big star now in Dynamite. He just did the thing with Moxley the other day. He's been on the show a lot recently. He's got a high potential. He comes from Ring of Honor. He's been there before. He could easily be, he's currently the Pure Champion. He just won that at the last show. He's a very good Pure wrestler. He's young. He's hungry. He's got a lot of fight. He's connecting with the crowd. He'd be one of my top guys in the Pure division. Then you have Kip Sabian, a very talented guy, natural heel, decent talker. Got to get away from the comedy stuff and do more serious stuff because he is an athlete and he has a punchable face. He is another natural heel. I think once he gets back from injury, I think Kip will be a good heel in Ring of Honor and get a good time to get a little better in the ring. JD Drake, he's a big guy, but he's athletic. He comes from Evolve and a bunch of the indies. For a big guy, he can moonsault and move around. He can take bumps. He's got an old school kind of feel to him. I think he'd be a good bruiser in Ring of Honor. Brian Pilman Jr., I like him a lot. Obviously, he's got his dad's pedigree. He's a little bit green in there, but he's getting better in the ring each time. He's got good fire. He's got a good look. The audience likes him after the Dark Side of the Ring stuff. I would use him as one of your top faces. And then finally, for singles, John Silver. The AEW crowd likes him. He's small, but he's fierce. He's very strong for his size. He has a good comeback. He's relatable to the crowd. I think he's a natural Ring of Honor fit. Now I've got 6 tag teams. 6 teams that I would take over to Ring of Honor. And I'll just name them real quick. Private Party, Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, Jack Evans and Angelico, Bear Country, Austin and Colton Gunn, and Butcher and Blade. You've got a young heel team in Austin and Colton Gunn. Austin comes from Ring of Honor already. Evans and Angelico are a good high-flying team. Jack Evans has a long history there. Bear Country are your power guys. Private Party are your unique high flyers, top of the division guys. Uno and Grayson are super underrated and have a Ring of Honor history. And Butcher and Blade are your bruising heel tag team that should be way higher on the card than they actually are. They're very talented. I like those guys. And finally, you've got your 8 ladies. I've got 8 ladies coming over. All that deserve more time on AEW or bring something different to the table. Abaddon, who's your dark character. Marina Shafir, who's your mixed martial artist, who's different in the ring. Anna Jay, who's likable and just needs more ring time to get a presence and a character. Red Velvet, who's a good high flyer, but she botches a little bit and needs more ring seasoning. Julia Hart, who's very likable, but needs to work on character. Nyla Rose, who is a decent talker, but doesn't talk too much, but is a good power wrestler. Penelope Ford, who needs to refine her ring work, but she has a natural star persona. She looks great and has a good heel gimmick. And Jamie Hayter, who can be kind of a power hybrid wrestler. So those are my 8 ladies. And then here are the possible signings that I would add from the outside, people that aren't in AEW right now that I might add to this roster to complete it. Cesaro, who's obviously Claudio Castagnoli, a longtime Ring of Honor guy. Arturo Huas, who comes from Evolve and NXT as your shooter, kind of badass physical mixed martial arts guy. Jonathan Gresham, who's your former ROH champion, who's a pure division top guy. The Briscoe brothers, who are your top legendary ROH tag team to add to that division. Brian Johnson, who's a great talker and a physical wrestler, comes from their school, and he's really talented and underrated. One of the best talkers in the world. And Josh Wood, your former pure champion, who's done stuff in AEW Dark already, gotten wins and promos on Dark, and is a natural fit for Ring of Honor. So those 6 guys, or 6 acts, might be a nice addition to the 21 singles, 6 tag teams, and 8 ladies. What do you guys think of that roster? Do you guys think I brought the right guys over? Who else would you bring off my roster? Who would you add? And who would you cut from the roster I listed? Tell me in the comments below, and please like, share, and subscribe. If you like these kind of videos, I will do more for other rosters and follow more wrestling if you guys watch this video and you like it. So if you want more wrestling on my channel, please watch and let me know. I'll talk to you guys soon.